Say your name, your position in the band, and something about yourself.
My name is Steve E. Nix, and that's spelled Steve, the letter E with a period, then N-I-X. I play guitar and I sing in the Briefs. And something about myself. It was a long drive today, and I'm a little fried.
Where'd you come from?
We came from... See, that's how fried I am. I have to think hard to figure out where we came from. That's an indicator. We came from, the fuck were we last night? We're in Philadelphia, then we went to... That's bad. Oh yeah, we were in Baltimore last night. You see what touring does?
Yeah.
This man's brain? Not like I have the best memory anyways.
Your new album, Steal Your Heart, came out in October. Did you do anything different on this album than your past albums?
Nothing intentionally different. I think our songs change a bit from album to album just because we don't want to keep writing the same song over and over, you know? So like, we're really into songwriting and like we're trying to write a good song, you know? The stuff that we like. I like to think that the songs sound a little bit different than the past records, but the attitude and the initial spirit is exactly the same, you know. And anything else different? We use the same producer, and we did it in the summertime instead of the wintertime.
Did anyone different influence your new album than your other ones? Bands or artists influence your songwriting on this album?
I think that we're influenced. We spend so much time on the road, like we tour about half of each year, you know, at least. And when we're out on tour, I know that I get influenced a lot by other bands that we play with. Maybe not influenced, but inspired, you know. And a lot of bands stink that we have to play with, like in Europe and in the States. Sometimes, you know, you'll play with other bands, like local bands, and you're like, oh man, they're not, I don't like this. But then every once in a while, there's like a really, really killer bands that we hook up with, you know, and are really inspired by what they're doing, you know.
Anyone in particular?
Bands like, over in Europe especially, bands like The Shocks out of Germany, and The District out of Germany, and some bands from France that we've become friends with, like the Neurotic Swingers and the Hate Pinks, and then bands in the States too, like these, like the Horror Pops and Left Alone. You know, it's like just like meeting people and who are like really passionate about what they're doing and playing great punk rock music, and you know, bringing something a little bit different to the table. Really does it for me, you know, and I get home from tour and I'm inspired to write songs.
What was the toughest part of recording your album?
Toughest part of recording our album? You know what? It really wasn't tough. It wasn't tough at all. I love making records. It's, you know.
How long were you in the studio for?
Probably like 3 weeks. 3 weeks, I think. And you know, we go in all day. We'll get in at noon and leave after midnight. I love it though. I love like hearing the songs come together, and some of them suck, and we have to throw them out. You know, because you kind of never really know how the song is going to turn out in the studio until you do it.
Tell us about your videos for Stuck on You and Getting Hit On at the Bank.
Stuck on You was cool. Our friend Lewis from Santa Cruz did it, and we had played at this club called Burnt Ramen in Richland. It's right outside of Berkeley in the Bay Area, and it's just a shithole, you know, but a cool shithole. And it's like just kind of it's got an abandoned building feel, and it's just all covered with graffiti. And at the show the night before, it's like lawless there. It's like a really high crime city. Like it is really weird. Like, I don't know, 14-year-old kids are walking in with bottles of Jack Daniels, you know, and it's like people throwing up in the corner, people having sex, like really hardcore. And the cops stopped by and poked their heads in because there was somebody got beat up outside, and they were just like, anybody have any information? And we were playing, we had to stop. And the cop got on stage and like asked if anybody knew about this guy that got beat up outside, and everybody said no. And he's like, all right, carry on, have fun. And you know, there's like a lot of illegal stuff going on. People shooting up in the corners. I don't know. It was weird. So, but then the next day, Lewis brought us back to where we played the concert because he thought it'd be a great place to do the video. And we filmed, you know, in a couple different rooms. We filmed in the bathroom where there's like puke and shit all over the place. It was fun. The video for Getting Hit On at the Bank, we were bouncing around a bunch of different ideas, and we weren't settled on anything. And then the day before the shoot, I had the idea that we play to a bunch of the local punk kids dressed up as zombies. And it's like, all right, cool, that'll work. Where do we get the kids? And the Addicts were playing that night. And I made up little handbills and brought them down, like pass them out to everybody, like show up tomorrow, you know, at 2 o'clock. I had everybody meet at the record store, and then the video shoot was right down the street. So, I don't know, we got like 50 plus kids down there, you know, and adults, and we had we just threw it all together, had some girls help us out doing makeup, and got a big crew of zombies together, and bought a bunch of blood and guts and stuff, and tried to make it like a B zombie movie.
That sounds really cool.
It was fun, and also, of course, zombies has nothing at all to do with the song, which we kind of like too. When
should we expect to see the Fuse or MTV?
You won't see it on MTV probably. Fuse, I'm not really sure what that is, because I don't know. I don't have cable or anything.
Do you know what Much Music is?
Yeah, in Canada.
That's what it used to be here.
Oh, hold on one sec. Sorry. Hello? Well, I don't know the politics of how you get a video on like MTV. You know, Much Music I think is maybe a little easier. But
Fuse is the American version of Much Music, I think now, because no one I know gets Much Music anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I know it's on video on demand. Like there's some, you can subscribe, like if you have cable, to like some, fuck, I don't know what it's called. I don't know, because I don't do TV.
On demand.
I just have like...
I think my friend has that. I think I know what you're talking about.
Like you can scroll down all these different videos, like pick one.
And you pay for it?
I don't think you pay for it. I think that it's just, you pay for the service, and there's always videos up to watch. I wish I had more information. I should. I just have like 3 channels at home on my TV, and then I rent DVDs, so I don't know. But it's cool. I think you can see it on the internet.
Which one was your favorite to shoot and why?
Alright, if you want the menus, just come inside.
Probably Getting Hit On at the Bank, because it was so rad, like getting everybody decked out like punk rock zombies, you know, and everybody looked really good, and everybody had fun, you know. It's like, of course, when you do a video, like you have to lip sync it, and we had the music cranked, and we were hoping everybody would get into it, and it ended up just being a blast. Like everybody there was just like really enthusiastic, you know, like spitting blood, and it was fun. The part of it got deleted where we had these 3 kids dressed up like hippies, and they came into the show, and then the zombies devoured them. And part of it got left in where they're like ripping intestines out of somebody's body.
So cool.
We had these guys dressed up like hippies, but when we try to watch it back, they didn't look like hippies. They just looked like people wearing wigs, you know.
Yeah. This tour with the Horror Pops and Left Alone started 3 weeks ago in Portland, and goes till the end of May. How has it been going so far? Any highlights that you would like to share?
Well, we had just gotten back from Europe. We got home from Europe and then immediately played with the Horror Pops in Portland and Seattle. Then they went to Canada, and we stayed home for 10 days while they were in Canada. And then we drove out to Massachusetts to meet them for this tour. Because, I don't know, we were over in Europe for a month and a half, and we needed a little time to catch a breath at home, you know. Any highlights of the tour? It's kind of just started for us. I mean, this is like our 4th, 5th show with them. I don't know, it's a blast. We get to watch, you know, hang out. Those guys are like friends of ours now. We've toured with them before.
It's a really good live.
Yeah.
I saw them September.
I don't know. We like stashed a bunch of really gross pornography all over their dressing room once. Like videotapes that somebody gave us. A friend of Chris's showed up in Philly, and he works for a porn distribution company, and he just brought us stacks of these really gnarly, like,
what did they think
bad, terrible porno flicks. They liked it, you know. Like, we hid it in their luggage and stuff.
Do you play pranks on bands usually on tour, or is that like pretty much the only?
No, we do it. If we're kind of friends, if we become friends with them, then we'll play pranks. Yeah.
What was the best one?
Once we were on tour with the Real Mackenzies, and we were ahead of them on the freeway on a long drive, and we pulled over and hid behind some bushes, and when they pulled up, we jumped out and just pelted their vehicle with eggs and tomatoes, and that was pretty good because it almost caused an accident. Then they tried to run us off the road, and somebody else called the police on them, and they got pulled over by the police. But that's dangerous. That's really not.
Yeah.
I don't know, we toured with the Damned and put honey on their drumsticks, and they hid rotten fish in our kick drum. Just like stuff like that. It can just go on and on and on.
That sounds...
So we stayed at a hotel in Vegas and called hotel security on our friends the Spits while we were on tour. That was pretty good too.
What would your ultimate tour be? You can pick any band, dead or alive or broken up.
It's a tough one. Live or broken up. I would have loved to have seen, you know, not the most creative answer, but the Clash in their prime. You know, that would have been great. Not only just to tour with them, but you know, when you tour with a great band, you get to watch them every night, and that's a real treat.
What's a typical day on tour for you?
Wake up way too early, get in the van, sit in the van, sleep in the van, sometimes read in the van, sometimes navigate, sometimes drive, listen to music in the van, pull over at rest stops and gas stations, and spend too long looking at stupid shit in gas stations and travel stops. Get to the venue, load our gear in, stand around a lot, do interviews sometimes, which is nice change of pace, and eat chips, drink soda pop, smoke cigarettes, fuck around with other bands, if it's cold, try to stay warm. If it's too hot, try to stay cool. Set up, sound check, play the set, watch the other bands, go sleep somewhere on the floor, get in the van, do it again.
What countries would you like to tour that you haven't toured yet?
Brazil. I think we're going to Brazil this summer. Australia we haven't been to, and we've been to Japan once, but we're hoping to get back there quickly. Yeah, it's just like short-term list. Yeah. I'd like to go to Thailand. I don't know if they have good punk shows there, though. I kind of doubt it.
Are there any bands that you like that you think people should know about in 2006?
The District from Germany, the Shocks from Germany, the Dreadful Children and the Hollow Points, and the Snot Rockettes from Seattle. Some of my favorite bands from California, Get Overlooked, The Bodies, The Stitches. I don't know, there's tons of great bands. That's the thing about punk rock, is there's always great bands that everybody doesn't know about, and that's why punk rock's cool, because you always get to discover the good stuff because it's not popular.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Alright. Hopefully you got something